Welcome back to What Arty Noobs with General Disturbance. This is the S-51, the Tier 7 Soviet SPG. This one's located on the eastbourne of Studzianki, and it's on the American account, the NA account of Oksydor. Okay, well, you can see straight away that there's no marks of excellence because, of course, he's working his way through all of the Arty from the start. He's got the big BR2 howitzer, the 152mm, not the B4, which is, of course, the short, fat one. This is what gave this Arty the nickname the Unicorn, because it's got this big, long horn when it's elevated. And it's capable of doing 600 alpha, and, ooh, Setter just parked himself in the bush there for a moment, but he got spotted, so he dipped down into the dip, but yeah, you can see Oksydor's trying to fire around and then, oh! Direct hit, 262.
Much obliged.
And he got 232 from the stun assist afterwards. I think it was because he actually damaged the track. That setter is gone now because the LHMTV's got in there and he'll just nail the guy. And there we go. Oh, well, Oksydor would have finished the job even if the LHMTV hadn't done it, because he had an accurate shot in the next shot. Direct hit on a wreck. Okay, Progetto 46 up in the forest. Nice. This little copse to the north of the cap area is, or north of the factory, I should say, is actually a very good area to focus on because it allows your teammates to get control of this area and shoot at any enemy tanks that try to cross the gap. But it doesn't appear that there are any enemy tanks on the other side of the factory. But it looks like there are two tanks over here that he can shoot at. We're almost loaded. Okay, he's going to go for the... oh, he's going for both at the same time. Now, he did fire that round in and didn't give us a chance to see what happened. Okay, so let's see this again. You can see he goes to the overhead mode. Okay, let's take control of the camera. Rounds out. Oh, it landed, fell behind the enemy tank. So that's why he didn't get anything off that. Now you can see what Oksydor is doing is he's quickly coming out of aim view to go immediately and change position to avoid counter battery. So we're going to take control of the camera so that we can see. He fires in between the two. Oh, and he hit the ELC with a direct hit. 274 off that one. As I was saying earlier, 600 alpha, 38mm a pen, and the standard reload is 23.97 seconds. And Oksydor's got that down to as little as 21.09. Again, he fires without giving us a chance to see what happens to the shot. Okay, there's an AMX M445. It's a tier 9 game with tier 7 tanks in it. And he's now dialing in on an ISU 152. It's following the target. And he fires. No, I don't think he got anything off that one. Okay, so he's now aiming to the south. Got an E75. And the Caro P88. The Caro's got thinner armor, so obviously makes a much better target. Rounds out. Goes long. Now remember, because he hasn't marked it, Oksydor is actually still a little way behind. His crew aren't going to load as quickly. They're not going to be as accurate as normal. All of his tanks on the EU account are 3 marked. And they are very accurate. Well, he stunned the E75 and he's getting loads of stun assist. The Caliban finishes the job and the E75's out the game, but our Caliban's taking a huge amount of damage from the enemy. Okay, so we're going to see if we can hit this Caro. Rounds out. Well, it stuns him. And he is taking damage, so more stun assist. He's actually earned over 3,000 hit points of stun assist already. More than likely an ace tanker game already. We're 4 tanks up on the enemy, but it's not over yet. Now he's aiming where he thinks the Centurion is, but we've just found a Pantera running up the tree line at the back of the map. Rounds out. No, it lands well short. Of course, the S-51, as you may know, designed in January 1944. It was based on the hull of the KV-1S. They did build a prototype and they tested it for about 3 months, so they could never get the thing to work properly because it just kept shaking the hull to pieces every time they fired the howitzer. KV-1S's hulls, of course, were much lighter on armor, but they're basically off the KV-1 design, but it just wasn't supposed to take that sort of recoil. Howitzers do produce a lot of recoil. T-28 HTC. Now, we didn't get to see what happened there to that shell. He's gone back to the aim, looking for that Centurion. Really need our teammates to tell us where these enemy tanks are. Now, the wreck's being pushed. So obviously something is directly behind that. So he fires around it directly and it goes long. So it misses the target, but we know something is using that wreck for cover. There's got to be an enemy tank behind it. More than likely, it's going to be the Centurion. Okay, looking up to the railway line. There's an ISU 152 somewhere around there. Not getting any tracer. He's looking for the Arty now at the moment. Enemy Arty in this game are a GW Panther and an S-51. And they found the Centurion for us. Okay, so we're dialing in as quickly as we can. Rounds out. That's better. Yes, 192 off that one. I do like the S-51 with the stock gun, mainly because it's got a fire rate and damage very comparable to the M12, but you get more rounds. You get 30 rounds of ammunition with the S-51 and the 152mm gun. You only get 20 rounds rather of ammunition with the M12. So 10 extra rounds. You can run out of ammunition with an M12. You don't run out of ammunition with the S-51. The only drawback, of course, is it's fairly slow. It's only 30 kilometers an hour. Oh, we missed out on that one, so we will run that back. I think the reason that he's doing this and shooting and then immediately scooting is down to the fact that they are hot on counter battery in the NA server. So he's concerned that he might get spotted. Oh, and even before I can take control of the camera, it's been shot and he's actually come out of aim view.
Watch out! Retreat!
Okay, trying to get a shot on the target as it retreats. Almost ready. Enemy Arty comes into sight, rounds out. That's better. 179 hit points on that one. Takes out the Centurion 7-1. And now we can move forward, get closer to the enemy. There's only 2 enemies left. The P-44 Pantera and the S-51. They both are probably near the buildings. Yeah, there's the Pantera. Fires a snapshot in. Again, we'd like to see the shots actually hitting the target. Otherwise, it kind of defeats the object of doing a video. Because all you're seeing is somebody shoot and then immediately come out of view, so you don't know what happens to the shell. And that game is over. Here's the end of battle stats. That was an ace tanker game for Oksydor in the S-51. I did think it would be an ace tanker, mainly down to the amount of stun assist that he managed to achieve in a very short period of time indeed. He also got his first mark of excellence during that game. Remember, this is on the NA server. He's 3-marked every Arty on the EU server already, but he's still working his way up through all of the individual Arty on the NA server, and so that means he's got to re-get all of those marks. He also got a bruise medal for getting at least 5 critical hits. In fact, he got 11. And he got a Confederate as well for hitting more of the enemy than anyone else on his team. At least 6 tanks subsequently taken out by other teammates. His win rate from that one, 1,995, which is very good indeed. Let's have a look at team score. Well, he didn't get the highest damage. That went to the Caliban, who actually earned a high caliber for 3,727 hit points of damage. And he was still alive at the end of the game, would you believe it, even though he'd taken substantial damage from the enemy tanks. Second highest was the Cobra with 3,067, and third highest was the 122 TM with 2,282. And we can see that Oksydor got 1,512 hit points of damage, but there were 2 enemy tanks that were above him in damage, and therefore he's in 6th place overall. When it came to kills, though, it was the Caliban and the Super Hellcat. Both of them managed to get 3 kills. So did the Yag Tiger 88 on the enemy team. And when it came in 2nd place, we've got the King Tiger captured with 2 kills and the ISU 152 with 2 kills. And we can see that Oksydor only got the 1 kill in the game, but it was the Centurion 7-1, one of the dangerous opponents. When it came to base XP, because he hit so many higher tier opponents during the game, he actually ended up with 1,395 base experience points, the highest in the game. 1,243 went to the Caliban and 1,072 went to the Cobra, and they were the only players who managed to get over 1,000 base in that game. He fired 18 rounds, so you can see if he'd actually been in an M12, he would have been close to running out of ammunition, but because he was in an S-51, he had loads of ammunition spare. 3 direct hits on the enemy, no penetrations, but he did get 14 splash. Damage of 1,512 hit points, all of it at more than 300 meters. Damage 9 of the enemy, kill 1, so there's a big 8 difference there to get the Confederate. And he also got 4,017 hit points of stun assist off 13 stuns. That's where he earned the Ace Tanker. He earned 88,792 credits profit on this game, and 15,696 XP as well, because he completed the mission to get 12,558 from some mission completion. Anyway, a very good game from Oksydor, except for the fact the one point that I would make is please don't come out of aim view. Let us see what happens to every shell once it's fired. If you want to move, by all means move, but do so using the keys. Don't come out of view so we miss out on what actually happens to the shell, because it kind of makes the replay boring. You know, it's like if I was in a tank and the moment I fired at an enemy tank and I immediately came out of view or looked somewhere else, you wouldn't see what happened to that shell and if the enemy tank was hit or not. You wouldn't know the information. So coming out of aim view really does make the video not worth watching. So please do not do that, because otherwise, you know, we would consider not actually showing videos like that. I've mentioned this many times in the past to other players who've actually sent in their replays. If you look away, then we will look away at your replay, because there's no point in us doing it if we're not going to see what actually happens to the enemy tank when the shell hits it, or where the shell went. That first shell where you looked away actually landed some distance away from the enemy tank. So I wondered why there was no damage showing, and that's why, because obviously for some reason the shell went long and it was RNG working against us. But anyway, I'm sure that Oksydor will get the hang of things. I think he's moving as quickly as he can to get away from a position, either because the NA server are very hot on counter battery, or because he's thinking about the delay in time it takes for the transmission of the data along the lines, the telephone lines or the satellite lines across the Atlantic. And he's worried that in the time he's sitting there, that the enemy's going to be able to get a shot at him before he's moved away. If you enjoyed that replay, please give this video a like. Do subscribe to our channel. Leave a little comment down below because it feeds the algorithm. And thank you for watching.